How much do you need to have saved for a down payment on your first house? If you thought right away, oh, I know the answer, it's 20%. Well, you're in good company because according to a study done by nerdwallet.com, more than 60% of Americans surveyed believe you have to have 20% for a down payment. Today's video, we are talking about exactly what a down payment is, how much you personally will need, and a couple of creative ways to get around the down payment problem. Spoiler alert, you might actually be financially a lot closer to buying than you realize. Today, our interview is with Fred Witt. He has been in the mortgage industry for more than 30 years. He's with Movement Mortgage. What I like about Movement Mortgage is their technology is very forward. They have an app. You can apply for your loan online in 30 minutes. That's what they say is that 30 minutes. And they also have an 8-day closing, which is an awesome timeline. So I didn't want you to get your information from anybody else about the down payment problem. I love working with Fred. So let's take a look at that interview. Fred, it is so good to have you here. As you know, for first-time home buyers, they have so many questions, and that's totally normal. But the biggest obstacle is, how do we get a down payment? What do we need? What is the down payment to begin with? So maybe you could start us off by just explaining what is the down payment?
Yeah, sure, Kaitlin. It's good to see you today, too. The down payment, which most borrowers actually think that they need 20% down, is really just your contribution towards the transaction. We use the term skin in the game. Lenders like to see that you have something, you've got some risk in it. So the down payment comes off the top of the purchase price. So for example, if you were going to buy a house for $500,000 and put 5% down, that'd be $25,000 and your loan amount would be $475,000. So basically the down payment is your contribution towards the house.
That makes a lot of sense. So once we have the down payment and we're applying for a loan, for so many of us as first-time home buyers, we've never done this before. What are lenders looking for? How are they assessing if we're good borrowers?
Good question. Well, there's a lot of different things that we have to use to assess your qualifications. What lenders use, one term we use is called the ability to repay. So we have to make sure that you have the income that will give you the ability to repay the loan monthly. We're also going to look at your credit and we're going to look at your down payment. Those are going to be the three main factors in determining whether we can finance you.
Can you speak just to a second on credit worthiness? What numbers do we need here?
Sure. There's a huge range for credit, generally running between 350 to 850. That's the score range. Most credit we see is in the range somewhere between 6 and 800, though. A good score is anything considered, I would say, over 660. That's nowadays standards, and these standards do change. When you have excellent credit, it means your score is over 740 or above, and at that point, the lender can offer you their very lowest rates.
Okay, so we know what a down payment is, what the lenders are looking for. What are we missing here? How much? How much do we need to save? How do we know?
Right. Well, as I had mentioned in the beginning, a lot of people do think they need to save up like 20%, and that's not really realistic. It's very hard. Very few people on their first home come up with 20%. Normally, if they do, it's because they got a gift from a family member. You really only need between 3 and 5% down. It varies depending on your credit score and program, but generally 3 to 5% is all you need. Now that we do have some down payment assistance programs where we can actually do 100% financing. Not everybody's going to qualify for those, and you do have to have a little bit better score, more in the 660 range for down payment assistance. But we can go all the way down to as low as a 620 score and still finance you.
That makes a lot of sense. So what I'm hearing is figure out what you would be qualified for, and then you're going to need to save about 3 or maybe 5%. And then there's always closing costs.
Correct. Closing costs, it's hard to give a percentage, but I would say if you put 2% in addition towards closing costs, that would be about right. So 2% on top of your down payment. Now you can talk to your realtor about this, but ask to have the closing costs paid by the seller. Now, nothing's for free. So generally what you're going to have to do is raise the amount you were going to offer them. So in other words, if you're going to ask for $5,000 in additional closing costs, then you're probably going to need to offer the seller $5,000 more on their purchase price. That way they come out exactly the same, but what you've really done is finance your closing costs into the loan, even though technically that's not something that you can do without asking the seller to pay it.
Right. There's so many ways to get creative with a down payment. And just the last question I want to ask, because I know we're running out of time, is can you share with us a couple of creative ways that you have helped people find the down payment? Let's say they don't have a savings account just bursting with cash. Where are people finding that several $1,000s amount?
Sure. So the first thing when I'll talk to the borrower, if they don't have enough for the minimum down payment requirements, the couple options are ask if you have a 401k or some type of retirement account. That's the easiest way. You can either withdraw from that account or you can borrow from your own account. You can even pay yourself back, and you pay yourself the interest that you borrow. So that's a great way to get it from a retirement account. If you don't have access to a retirement account, then obviously a gift. We do allow gifts for down payment. If you have a family member that can gift you the funds, that would be a second option. And there are other options. Employers can actually give money for down payment, but we don't see that very often. So it's mostly from retirement or family members are other good sources for down payment.
Yeah, and that's how I bought my house. Was I took a loan out for my 401k, and the amount I pay back is like under $300 a month for 10 years. And I have a house. So I definitely believe in that strategy because I've used it. And there's so much more we could talk about, but we want to keep this video to just the down payment, what it is and how much you need. Fred, I would love it if you would come back, do more videos with us. There's so many questions for first-time home buyers. So we'd love to have you back if you're willing.
Wonderful. Yes. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, great to have you, Fred. And I guess we'll see you on the next interview.
Okay. Thank you, Kaitlin.
Thanks. I so hope that you found that information helpful. Now you have a good idea of how much you need for a down payment problem. You won't be making any of the common mistakes that first-time home buyers make. If you haven't watched that video yet, take a look at it. Fred's great. I'm happy to assist you as well. I'm going to put our contact information on the last slide of this video. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to Fred directly on his website or to me, as always, on my website as well. So thank you for watching today. I definitely hope that this was helpful for you. If it was, feel free to give me and Fred a like. That's two likes. Don't push it twice though, because I think that gets rid of the like. But and then of course, don't forget to subscribe. So thanks for being here and best of luck on your down payment. We'll see you on the next video.